Yeah, Sunday, Hey, I'm back in my bag, I know they missing me. Ay, you know I go hard until they finish me. Ay, I wake up and grind, they try to limit me. Highway to heaven, you know we run high intensity. That's right. I'm back in my bag, I know they missing me. Ay, you know I go hard until they finish me. Ay, I wake up and grind, they try to limit me. Highway to heaven, you know we run high intensity. Sundays with Justin, Mondays we hustling, Tuesdays still training, by Wednesday it's draining, shot wet like it's raining. It's not though, try to knock me off my pivot, I'm straight to the block though. I can't do no pump fake, still watch out for the block though. I'm not your average player, I'm all-star status. Give all y'all answers, not no ball hog, bastard jump shot, look synthetic, but it's all natural. Body full of ice like I got back from.
What's up, y'all? It's Coach Justin. We're here again at the Sit Down Podcast. We have a very, very special guest, my guy Jeremy Summers. How's it going, brother?
Good. How you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. So yeah, man, I'm glad. First of all, glad to have you down here, man. We've been talking about doing this for a while. Kind of grew up as family members, man. So we got a lot we could talk about today. We didn't grow up really close, but you know, it was like our families being close, and it was always love. You know, always love when we seen each other. But yeah, man. So let's take us back, man. First of all, how you doing? Everything good?
I'm good. How you doing?
That's good, man. I'm blessed, bro. No complaints. Just trying to put it all together. Take us back to young Jerm, man, and how it all started. Where you born and raised, and your upbringing, and we'll start from there.
So I was born here in Oakland. I think from as early as I can remember, we moved around a lot and kind of settled maybe when I was 11, 12 in West Oakland, actually, where you went to high school. We stayed on 21st and Market. My brother Frank he was already in high school. I might have been in 5th grade at the time, so he was going to Skyline.
What's the age difference between y'all?
5 years.
Okay.
He was going to Skyline. I was going to St. Pascal's. It's a Catholic school that used to be up on 98th and Golf Links up there. And that's where I met like a lot of ballers, like real basketball players. I think on my St. Pascal's team, I don't know if you remember any of these names, but we had a squad. We had Alim Moore. We had Michael Robinson.
Mike Robb used to be
Mike
nice.
Robb
I used to come to those games.
Hey, Mike Robb was slapping in 5th grade.
I remember. He was so athletic.
Like, if you could slap it, if you could touch the backboard in 5th grade, that was like a big thing.
Yeah, that was almost like dunking for us.
He was like 5'11" in
with
5th
bounce,
grade.
bro.
So I thought he was like the biggest, tallest dude. And then I lost contact with Mike Robb in my freshman year when I got to Skyline. Mike Robb had transferred from Tech to Skyline.
Really?
And Mike Robb was still 5'11". And by this time, I'm 6'1". So I'm like he came up to me and was like, Jerm, what's up? And it was Mike Robb, but I didn't know because I always thought Mike Robb was going to end up being like 6'5", 6'6".
We can even cut this out because I don't know about his personal life, but did he ever play football? Because he always reminded me of a football player.
He was always...
He even hooped like a football player.
His dad was like, I think, a personal trainer and would have him like...
working out and shit at a young age.
In 5th grade. So he didn't play football at Skyline, and I'm not sure if he played at Tech or not, but he was only at Skyline for a short period, and then I kind of lost contact with him again. But when he came, I remember, like... We was on one for a minute, like cool.
I'm trying to think who else was on that team with y'all. Because like I said,
Moore, Mike Robb. Who else was really good? Alim was probably the only person we had that ended up going D1. But we had this other dude named. He ended up going to play football at Alabama from O'Dowd. Is it Ronald
James?
Ronald James.
He went to Alabama?
Yeah, he went to Alabama. He went to O'Dowd, and then he went to Alabama as a slot receiver, DB walk-on, and ended up earning a scholarship.
I remember because his mom and my mom are friends.
But that squad at St. Pascal's was good. So
because Alim played AAU with me. We played on the Bulldogs starting from the 5th grade.
That was our coach.
Exactly. And I would spend the night at their house all the time.
Yeah, they stayed right.
And I would come to their games, because sometimes y'all would have games on the same days we would. You know how it is in youth sports. You spend the night at each other's house and all that. So I used to come to y'all games all the time. But so how long did you hoop for?
I played at St. Pascal's. That was in 5th grade. And then after that, I think I got kicked out of St. Pascal's. They were very strict. Me and I don't know if you remember my cousin Cortland, my mom's sister's son. But
that name sounds familiar.
Cortland is Gina's son. Your mom would know. But Cortland and I both were at St. Pascal's. Cortland was there first. I was going to all Oakland public schools from kindergarten till 5th grade. I was at Lakeview, Kaiser, And then my cousin was at St. Pascal, so my mom kind of got convinced to put me in private school. It lasted maybe like 6-7 months. We got in a big fight with me and my cousin versus some other people.
At St. Pascal's?
At St. Pascal's, yeah.
Who the hell was y'all fighting at
I think it was like we had another cousin, our younger cousin was there as well. His name is Julian. Shout out to Gunther's. He's actually a rapper now. Someone started something with him. He came and got Cortland. Cortland came to me. It turned into a big thing, and that was kind of ultimately what led to us, amongst like us always being in detention. St. Pascal's was the first school I was at that ever actually gave out detention, where if you got in trouble in class, you had to sit in the library for lunch and like draw lines, and you couldn't have like a lunch. You could eat, but you couldn't go.
Yeah.
So it didn't work out. I think like right after hoop season, I was kicked out. Cortland was kicked out, and I think I ended up finishing the rest of the year like on an independent packet from St. Pascal's. And then 6th grade, I went straight to Claremont. And I hooped at Claremont. I was coached by this woman named Miss Dudley. I always wonder like whatever happened to her. She had a son who's now the head coach at Claremont for basketball.
Oh, wow.
He played at Pacific, I think, the University of Pacific. And at the time when she was coaching me, he was in college and they were going to the NCAA tournament. So I was at Claremont all 3 years from 6th to 8th grade. And my 8th grade year was probably my last time ever playing like organized on a team basketball.
Is there a reason why, or it just kind of happened that way?
So after Claremont, I went on the Skyline. And I knew from there, like, it was football. Like, we didn't have football in middle school. Crazy thing, I actually was too big growing up to play Pop Warner.
Because there was weight limits back then.
There's no weight limits now.
Right.
I got to play 1 year for the Berkeley Cougars. And I think I was 9 years old. And I had to play with, like, the 11, 12, 13-year-olds because it was weight. They wanted me to play midgets, but that's 14.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get guys who are 15 because they're not trying to play JV.
In their weight. Yeah.
So I wasn't able to play Pop Warner growing up. I played like a little bit of flag. I did like the punt, pass, kick competitions. But I didn't really play too much.
That had to be frustrating to you because obviously knowing who your brother is, and at this point he's him.
Yeah.
So it's like you growing up, and I know you wanted to play hella bad.
Yeah.
Because I remember I used to go to Frankie games because Frankie and my sister Asia are around the same age. Yeah. So I remember I would go watch Frankie play. That was like a big deal in our family.
It was very frustrating. I remember working out with the Oakland Saints all summer. And you go to like the first jamboree, and then you have
like registration or something.
Yeah, you go to like a jamboree, and before every game, they got the scale in the locker room.
Yeah, I remember that.
And like,
you got to weigh in.
I remember like being in college and playing football and thinking back, like I would tell people like, bro, I nervous now. Like I used to be nervous about making weight. Like everybody all nervous. I'm like, bro, I used to be more nervous thinking like I'm not going to be able to play in this game. And that happened. Like if you're a couple, I think they might give you like a pound or two. But if you like more than 3 pounds over,
it's a wrap.
They won't let you play. Their thinking, I think back then was that somebody could get hurt or, you know,
it's like a size thing.
Yeah. You don't want a person 180 going head on head.
I mean, we the same age, so I couldn't imagine as small as I was getting tackled by your big ass. Because I remember how big you was back then. I would have loved to have you on my team because I played for East Bay Warriors for a minute, but I would have loved to have your ass on my team to protect me as the quarterback. But
you played quarterback?
Yeah, I played QB. I was actually the first quarterback to take East Bay to the national championship.
Wow,
I was decent, bro. But people don't understand, quarterback and point guard is similar.
No, definitely.
So it's like it was
like floor generals.
So it was funny, right? Quick story before I let you finish. So I come out there. I'm a first-year player, right? I got a cousin named Elliot Dorsey who just got married, actually.
Yeah, I seen. I played Saints with E. Dorsey.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so
he went to City when I was at Laney too.
Bet, exactly. Yeah, so he's kind of how I ended up with East Bay Warriors because I started playing like in the 6th grade was my first year. So I went out there. They was like, what position? You know, I didn't know nobody. I'm just out there. I knew a couple of people from basketball. Let me not say that. So at first they got me at like running back, of course, and I don't know what the hell I'm out there doing. But I'm an athlete, so I'm not terrible. You know, I know how to catch, I know how to throw, but I just don't know football. I've never been taught football. So one day we probably like a few weeks from the jamboree, right? And they like, Justin, our quarterback, I'm not gonna say his name, but he wasn't very good at the time, right? So they like, Justin, can you throw? I'm like, yeah, I can throw. So they're like, let us see. So we in the middle of a water break, and they got me. They like, all right, throw it to the coach or whatever. So I throw it. They like, hold on. Then it's like, hold on. They tell somebody to run a route. They like do this. So now like the next 20 minutes, they're like seeing like, is this a fluke or is this little nigga really nice?
Yeah.
And then ended up I couldn't get the fucking fakes down. You know what I mean? I couldn't get it took me a while, but I went home and I practiced that shit, bro. And that's just how I am, hella obsessive.
Sure.
Then I got that and I ended up being pretty good. Our team was good. You know Cordion Kennedy too?
Yeah.
So
Fremont.
Yeah, we played on the same team and our defense, we didn't get scored on the whole year. I didn't throw no picks though. Like we was nice. Bro.
Y'all had some boys.
Yeah, we was nice.
Dorsey played with y'all?
Yep. No, I was Pee Wee, he was junior midget. But okay, you know Avery Patterson went to Pittsburgh, went to Oregon. He was on our team.
Corner.
Yep, he was on our team. Ian Kelly, who be rapping, he was on that team. That's how I know Ian. We was stacked, bro. It's more people.
Ian went to St. Mary's.
Yep. It's more people. But anyway, that's just a little bragging point. But go ahead and finish.
That's crazy. And E. Dorsey, is probably one of the hardest hitters I've ever seen. He's always been into fitness, working out. Shout out E. Dorsey. He was a boy in football. I followed him a lot when he was at City. I was at Laney, so we were playing against each other.
That's dope.
And I think he went to Northern Colorado.
Yep.
So I did see he just got married. So that too. I hit him up on Instagram.
Yeah, I actually went to the wedding. It was beautiful.
That's what's up. I get to Skyline. I knew I was gonna play football. I didn't really even trip off.
So before you get into high school, are you like, is Frankie teaching you football shit? Or are you working out with football coaches? Like how I was saying, I was like green when it came to football. Yeah. Like how were you as far as prepared?
So
because it had to be intimidated going to high school, because I'm sure all of them dudes been playing for years. Most of them, I should say.
Definitely. So one thing I'll say about Frank is not the person, if it's not I'm trying to think about how I could say this. Frank's not the person you want to work out with if that's not really what you want to do. I was a bigger, kind of fat kid, you know what I'm saying? Lazy.
Yeah.
I don't know who birthed Frank, but that nigga his mindset is different.
Right.
Oftentimes, even now as grown men with family and with his kids or whatever, we be having to tell him bro, they don't think exactly. They don't got the Frank mind. Frank was 11, 12, and my mom was asking us what we wanted for Christmas, and Frank was I want a weight bench.
Are you serious?
At 11 years old.
That's incredible.
So nobody.
What got him into that?
I think it was we're Samoan and black,
right?
And Frank spent a lot of time when I was younger. I wasn't really around them as much. Mm-hmm. He spent a lot of time with our Samoan cousins in San Lorenzo, and all they did was eat and lift weights.
Really?
That was the thing. And Frank was right up under that, under my cousin Tamaloto, who played at TCU, my cousin Tanoa, my cousin Martin, all them. They all played D1 football. So I think from 10 years old,
he was
Frank
programmed
around that. He was already yo, I'm gonna be I think the goal at first was I'm gonna be a Division I football player, and then from there it blossomed into NFL and all that stuff. But I kind of think that's where he got it from. But I didn't have that. I wasn't. They were already long gone in college by the time I'm 10, 11, 12, 13, and Frank is already doing his thing. So I was still growing up in West Oakland. We had a coach who lived in our apartment building named Coach Will, and he was coaching, I think, for maybe the Warriors at the time.
Okay.
And he was hosting a bunch of camps at Ramonde one summer. So my first exposure into it was going to that Ramonde camp. By this point, I'm probably 9 or 10, and I couldn't play before this. And I went to that Ramonde camp, and I actually ended up getting MVP. But not because they gave out 6 MVP awards. They gave out 6 trophies out of maybe 40, 50 kids. I got one of the 6. And it wasn't because I was the best player out there, but it was that they put me at every position. And I was so willing to they tried my big ass at quarterback. They put me at D-line, O-line, of course, tight end, receiver, running back. And I was just so willing to I'm man, wherever y'all put me, I'll go. If I don't know it, I'll learn it. And they said that in the ceremony. They were man, this guy, he just, wherever we told him to go, he didn't. Most people, they I'm a running back.
Exactly.
I don't want to learn how to play.
I think that helped me too. I'm
so open-minded and willing to learn that. They appreciated that, and they kind of took that and were oh, he was so willing to learn that he's one of our MVPs of this camp. It was called the Showtime camp. I just looked in the old box the other day. I still got the trophy, and that was from 2000 2006 or something like that, or 2004 maybe.
Yeah,
something early on. No, it had
to be before that because I played.
I was in high school by then, so it might have been like 98.
Yeah, that sounded like more because 02 was when we went to the Nationals and I was in the 6th grade. So we was in the 6th grade.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this before you get to high school: Did that mess with your and I don't want to call it an insecurity, but did it mess with your sense of security or like your mental Rolodex as far as being so much bigger than everybody your age and having to hear like, damn, you hella big. You how old? Because I know you dealt with that. Because
honestly, not really. And I think it was cool because people didn't really fuck with me. Like I didn't really have too many fights growing up.
Right.
Like I was just cool.
Yeah.
I was cool with everybody. Like I've always been kind of like a chameleon. I could blend in anywhere. And everybody was cool. I grew up in West Oakland, but I was going to Claremont. So
right.
There's like 3 different buses you have to take to get to Claremont from West Oakland. You had to get on the 80 to the 51, or maybe it was the 80 to the 40 to the 51. And most of the guys who lived near me, they all went to Low. It was called Low at the time. I think it's a charter
West
school
Oakland Middle now.
I think. That was cool. Like I was raised around those guys, but we all ended up going to different schools. Like I grew up around, I don't know if you know DeMarco, Jay Black, Jesse, Barry. Barry's now the head basketball coach at Mac. Yep. So they all lived like across the street or in my building. DeMarco, who's Barry's uncle, was my neighbor.
Oh wow.
So I've always been cool with them, and
that's
still
dope.
To this day, when I see Barry or DeMarco, it's love.
That's dope. That's
always.
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah, Barry actually replaced me at Mac.
I remember you were coaching there before him.
Yeah, that's what's up. So okay, let's get to high school now. So how was it coming in? Let's talk about school first, and then we get to the football field.
Okay.
No, actually, you do football first, technically, right? As a freshman, because it starts in the summer.
Yeah.
So let's do football first. How was that?
I come up my freshman year. Frank at this point is maybe 1 or 2 years removed from Skyline. He was all everything. So when I come now with no real football experience,
expectations.
The expectation is through the roof.
How'd you deal with that?
That was hard. That was hard because I didn't even at the time I didn't love football. Like I didn't know the game. I was just big. Like I wasn't lifting weights. Frank probably came in freshman year doing 225 already squatting 300-400 pounds. That wasn't me. Like I was cool. I was a little bit athletic. I was on the hoop court. I could post people up because they couldn't get around me.
Right.
But football is like different. Hoop too. You got to be able to slide your feet and stuff. But I don't know. It's like football is just so physical, everything. So it was hard coming up to Skyline my freshman year, working out with, first of all, not many freshmen come in the summer. But my mom was already tapped in because, again, Frank had just left. We did have a different head coach. By the time I got there, Coach Beam had transitioned on to Laney, and Coach Kevin Evans coached me all 4 years, was the head coach now, and had taken over the program. And my freshman year coming in, we had ballers, especially on varsity.
Did you play varsity off the bat?
Nah, I did not. I played JV actually freshman and sophomore year, and then I got moved up my sophomore year.
Really?
Yeah, my freshman year I played JV. Didn't even start like freshman year. My high school football story is crazy, bro, because I think my senior year I am one of the only people. I'm trying to think. I'm the only person from my senior year team who went on to play Division I on a scholarship, like off the bat. Like we had one other person, Brandon Johnson. He walked on at
ASU. I remember that.
Played middle linebacker. I went to Laney first.
Damn, Brandon was a middle linebacker?
Brandon was like, at one point, Brandon was like 6'2", 230. He was
really?
Huge. He lost a lot of weight. He got huge. Like he bulked up.
Wow.
And, so I came in, I was weak as hell. Freshman year, I wore number 42. I played O-line at the D1 I went to. But in high school, freshman year at least, I played strictly defensive end, number 42. My head coach on JV was Shorty. So you know that was comedy.
Yeah,
he grabbing me by the face mask. Little brother, what the fuck? You nothing like Frank. Like every day. I just seen Shorty last night.
Always
always
running to him randomly.
Last night, and he was a funny ass coach.
I love Shorty,
because he got so many jokes. I got stories for Shorty. I mean, about Shorty for days. Like
Facts.
We were getting reffed one game by a female referee, and they made a bad call or something. Shorty threw, like, he had, I don't know how he knew to do this. He had lube in his back pocket, threw it on the field, and he was like, if I would have known I was going to get fucked today, I would have used this, and like threw it at her. And Shorty's a fool. Man, Shorty is a funny dude.
Who would do that? Like
he was doing cartwheels.
Yeah,
like,
he used to be around the Oakland Rebels too. Yeah.
He was the head coach.
Shorty's like famous out here, man. Anybody in the sports world, or if you went to Skyline, you know Shorty for sure.
So yeah, freshman year I was weak as fuck. Didn't really played sparingly. If we were like getting blown out or blowing somebody out, I would get in the game at defensive end. No O-line, just strictly D-end. But we had some dudes that were older than me on that team who went on to go D1. I think on our team at that time they were a little older than me. We had a guy named Michael Sneed. He went on to play defensive end at University of San Diego State, but he might have been like 06 or 07.
I know that name.
He's a bigger dude, 6'5". He played hoop a little bit too.
Okay.
His older brother Will played with Frank. Will went to UCLA. Mike went to San Diego State. And I think that might have been the only guy from my JV team that was older than me that went on somewhere on varsity. We had
dogs.
We had Shay McIntyre. He went to Cal. We had Monte Brown. I'm not sure where he ended up going, but he was like all state. We had Marcus Davis, who was all everything. We had Andre Christian at quarterback.
I remember Andre Christian.
He was getting offers from like Nebraska and coming back telling us stories like, bro, I was just at Nebraska. They played my highlight tape.
That was dope.
We had Jordan Norris. He was a boy. His brother Mike, he played at UCLA. He played with me at Laney. We had Talib. Talib is who we were just talking about. He ended up playing for the Carolina Panthers.
That's fire.
And these are all guys who were kind of already on varsity that I was looking at like, damn. So I knew I wasn't ready for that yet, as a freshman especially.
Right.
And then moving on to sophomore year, I ended up starting. That was my first kind of introduction to playing O-line. Shorty was actually, as funny as he is, he's a hell of an offensive line coach. Like I learned a lot from him. He taught me a lot. And that was kind of my introduction to playing offensive line. And I don't think I played any defense sophomore year. That was my first time starting and kind of getting exposed to the game like at that high of a level. So sophomore year, I started, I think, all 10, 11 games that we played on JV. And then I got moved up maybe in the playoffs. And then junior year, now I'm back to the guys who were starting over me as a freshman that were bigger than me. So junior year, again, I didn't play that much at Skyline my junior year. My Skyline, like, football highlights, whatever, they're trash. Like, I was weak. I was just big. I didn't lift weights. I had no work ethic. Like, I was lazy. I wasn't.
It was just something you did. You wasn't in love with it yet.
Yeah, it was. I didn't think like I had any type of future. I never thought that was going to be how my education would get paid for.
What at this point, right? So you're a junior.
Junior, not playing at all.
What is Frankie saying to you?
He was off me.
I could tell. That's why I asked that.
He was off me. He was like, if you like, I'm not tripping if you don't want to play football, but it was low key like I was making the family look you know what I'm saying, crazy, because we had Frank who had just graduated.
He's like
4 years or something before I got there, and then I come in and I'm supposed to be like Frank, but.
Then it sucks because y'all brothers with the same last name too, so it's like you couldn't even play that off.
I was nothing.
Y'all look alike too.
I knew it, and it's crazy like how far I grew in such like a short time. Like, so
that's why I can't wait to get to that point of the story.
Yeah. Junior year, I didn't get no PT. I was like fucking number 68.
How tall are you at this point?
Probably like 6'2".
6'2"?
Yeah.
And how much do you weigh at this point? You remember?
Probably 6'2", 270, but couldn't really move. I didn't know my body. I didn't know how to use it. I didn't have no like aggression. I've always been like a nice ass person.
Right.
So people would be like, bro, you too nice. Like, you big, you got to play nasty. And I remember we're at like my junior year, we're at like a team camp, and we got like Logan's there. It's at Skyline. Logan's there, Berkeley High's there, Max there, it's all these schools with like top players. They had like people who was going everywhere. And I'm playing O-line and I'm going against people who are going to like Cal, and somebody, I didn't know who it was, but I hear a voice screaming at me like, open your fucking eyes. Like I'm trying to block somebody and they like acting like I got my eyes closed or something. And I turn around and Frank's like standing behind me. He was going to Cal at the time, but he came back to watch the camp and like see, and that was like right there. He was like, bro, like, I don't know what the fuck to say to you. Like, you not, you know what I'm saying? You're not blocking, you're not doing anything. And then he told one of our coaches, he was like, I think he might be a lover, not a fighter. Like, his mind was made, you know what I'm saying? Like, this.
So how are you taking it at that point?
I was just like, kind of like, fuck him.
Yeah,
like, whatever.
Yeah.
And, but it also like it gave me like a little bit of motivation. Like, I'm gonna show this.
Yeah.
And funny story about me and Frank, I wish he was here to admit this. So I think this is like my junior year. Frank was always like, since I was little, he was the big brother. He was stronger. He was everything. But one time we were like helping my mom move from one office to another. And I think I was in his car and he told me to grab something. And I got mad because I'm like, nigga, why don't you grab it?
Right.
He was like, because I told you to. So I get out hella mad like the little brother. I slammed his door. And he had like a clean ass Mustang at the time that he was driving going to Cal. And when I slammed his door, he like jumped out the car to come like kind of fight. Yeah. And I don't know what came over me, but when he ran up, I just socked him in the nose and his shit started bleeding.
What?
And we both like looked at each other and he was like doing like this. And I just took off down the block. Mom's chasing after us, like, leave him alone. He was like, I'm gonna kill. You know what I'm saying? But
typical brother shit.
That's like a funny ass story because Frank we always talk about that. He's like, that's the first time like when I was like, damn, this nigga do got a little mean shit.
Yeah, I was just about to say that probably would have been like
it was like
he was pissed, but it probably was like, oh shit.
Yeah, at that moment I think we both kind of knew, and that was like really like when I really think about it. That was like a turning point. I was like, damn, if I could make Frank bleed.
Right.
Like, because Frank has always been like, you know what I'm
fucking
saying?
Superhero, yeah. Because I remember being a kid knowing him. So it'd be like, damn, he's huge, bro. Yeah. Deep ass voice, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Super mature and all that.
Like, grown man. So I think that was like a turning point for me. And senior year, I started out the season starting. We went and played Palma High School, which is like up in Salinas, and we got our asses kicked. I got my ass kicked, and I remember thinking like, damn, man, again, now I'm backtracking, like I probably gave up like 2-3 sacks, ended up getting benched the next week versus Logan for a dude who weighed like 170.
Wow.
They wanted him to play offensive tackle over me because they were like, man, like you ain't like you fucking us up. You know what I'm saying? And they were right though. Like I was so lazy. I did not lift weights. I wasn't doing shit in high school. I was a class clown, just kicking it, chilling. I never really got into smoking weed or anything or drinking or any of that in high school. So it wasn't that. It was just, I don't know what.
You was just chilling.
Yeah, I was just like cool with just being germ and being like the class clown that could make people laugh.
But you know what's crazy thinking about it and just listening to you tell the story, if you would have just had maybe 1 or 2 years able to play as a youth, you probably would have figured a lot of this out way sooner. You know what I mean?
I definitely didn't figure it out at Skyline. Like I said, my career at Skyline was terrible. And
so senior year didn't get better?
I started a couple of games, but I didn't even start like every game senior year.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't start every game my senior year.
Pause on the story real quick. I wonder if that's why they made it just because nowadays it's like 10, 11-year-olds. Like they don't do weight no more. They do like
it's like age 10U, 9U, or 8U.
Is that I wonder if that's why.
So they wanted like bigger kids maybe to get that confidence
and that experience and all that. Because it's not fair for you to get to high school and you going against all these dudes that's been playing for 4 or 5 years,
man,
and you brand new. So they know techniques. They know small.
I'm talking about I'm getting worked by people who might be I'm maybe 260.
Yeah, like you can hold your hand out and they can't hit you.
They running around me and they like 145, 150, but it was just the fact that I had no technique. Nobody taught me how to kick slide or like any of that. I'm trying to learn it all at Skyline, but the game is happening so much faster in high school that that shit, it's hard to be learning and starting and trying to like do both
and implement it and know when to read and when I should bring this out my arsenal.
Yeah.
So okay, so do you have any big games your senior year?
So my biggest game my senior year was we were playing to go to the Silver Bowl, the OAL championship. We played Castlemont. Castlemont at the time they had Chris Little. Chris Little was going to Cal.
Yeah.
Or maybe
I just saw Chris Little was 1 year older than us.
Okay.
But I just saw Chris Little not too long ago.
Well, whatever game I was playing in, maybe this is my junior year.
Okay, but anyway,
I had Chris, and I played in that game. I remember Chris being a boy. That was probably the biggest game I played in at Skyline because it was to go to the Silver Bowl. We ultimately ended up losing. I think we had Jay Foley, Joe Sampson, Jordan Norris. And they were having great games, but
because Foley transferred from Odell, right?
Yeah.
Did Joe went to Skyline the whole time? No, Joe
went to Odell too.
That's all I say.
They came over together.
Joe transferred too.
Yep. So
I mean, I still talk.
That was a big game, and that was the first game like I low key balled like all season. That was the first game where I low key like balled and was like, damn, like I'm really blocking.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
right.
Like, and I got confidence. But at that point, the season's over, and I'm like, damn, what am I going to do now? And I remember Coach Beam, coming up to Skyline to like talk to the seniors and asking them, you know, like, what are y'all plans? Like, who's coming to Laney? Who's going wherever? Obviously, he wants Skyline guys to come to Laney because that's his, you know, he's like alumni. He coached there for 20, 30 years. He wants all those guys to come down to Laney. Me being Frank's brother, I've known Coach Beam since I was probably like 11, 12. And I should have said this before, but a lot of kids like growing up, they would go to these, you know, Boys and Girls Club camps or whatever. My summer camp was going to Frank's practice at Skyline. I'm just rocking with him wherever he going. And I was around the game, but I didn't get like the physicality. I'm just watching it and like trying to implement it. But the shit you do on the football field, you got to do live. Like, you can't. Like, I feel like in basketball, you can go do shooting drills. In football, as a receiver, you can go catch routes, you know what I'm saying? Or as a quarterback, you can go throw the ball. But as an offensive, defensive lineman, there's only so much you could do. You could maybe do some type of bag drills, but you need, like, live, hand-on-hand combat to really get, like, the feeling of what you're going to see. So I didn't have it. And then I ended up going to Laney. And I was, my bad, let me go back real quick. I was actually a good student at Skyline. I think I had graduated with maybe like a 3.0 GPA. I had 1 year where I was like on the honor roll, and I kind of always had my grades up there. That was a good thing. Like, I was a good student, so I will always say that. That was my argument with Frank. Like, well, you ain't smart. Like, you don't got good grades. I got good grades. Like, so I was always a good student. I wasn't really that smart, but I just applied myself, and I always was like a people person. Like, I kind of figured out, and I tell, like, I kind of interact with youth now, doing some youth stuff, and I tell them all the time, like, if nothing else, make sure you got a good relationship with your instructor.
Yep.
Because when you got that 68 and you need like a 70, you need 2 points to be eligible, they going to remember when you come to them, like, can I please? They going to remember if you was a dickhead or you was like the kid who was always polite, and they going to remember if you was respectful or rude. So
I think that's something these kids these days don't have, bro. Because even coaching at Mac, I used to tell them kids, like, bro, why am I getting phone calls about y'all shooting dice? Bro, when I went to Mac, the security guards used to let us shoot dice in their office so we didn't get in trouble. But it goes into playing the game. You got to treat people a certain way, but if you calling them out their name and disrespecting their name, like, nigga, fuck you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and these kids now, they
different, bro. It's different.
Wow.
It's different,
I just seen somebody post something about a coach at Vallejo,
bro,
getting shot by his player.
Yeah,
like,
bro.
It's the
breaking up a fight, bro. Breaking up, and quiet as kept. A lot of people don't even understand. That's the reason why I stepped down at Mac, because there was a lot of drama behind that shit. But the main, like, this was the second year in a row it was a shooting on campus. They just had one this year, and it's like, bro, I know people that are teachers and up there, they like, bro, I don't come to work without my pistol on me. Like, what? Listen to what y'all are saying. This isn't normal, bro. And then I'm coaching kids, and it's like, I'll never forget. This is a quick story. We playing at Tech, and my team isn't that talented, but I got these kids playing hard. They bought in at this point because I came in like a drill sergeant. Like, man, we doing this shit this way. So at first they was a little resistant, but by the end of it, they loved me. Bro, I'll never forget. We playing.
How many years did you do?
Just one.
Okay.
Well, I did that year, and then COVID, and throughout the COVID year, I was still there. But then after that, I left. Okay. But now I help out at Fremont.
Got you.
But I'm too busy, honestly, and the pay is a joke. But yeah, I'm the kid is coming up the sideline right in front of me. I'm like, slow it down, run motion. There's no way he didn't hear me. He crossover, go middle, and shoots a jumper. I call a timeout and lost my mind, bro. I know you heard me. You know, all I hear was somebody from the stand say, "Don't talk to my baby like that."
Oh, yeah.
And I just looked up, and mind you, my mama, my sisters, my daughter's mom, my partners, I think Jordan Foley might have, because they all coming to these games to support me, you know what I mean?
For sure.
Right. And I just looked at my people, I just shook my head and was like, I'm not even going to entertain that, because that's going to start something else.
Yeah.
But it's like, how am I supposed to coach your kid if I got to deal with you doing that?
That's why they.
And this is the same kid that disrespects you.
They got the support.
You know what I mean?
From their parents.
But yeah, I didn't mean to go off on that tangent.
No, that's very real.
Yeah, bro.
I agree with you 100%. People ask me all the time, like, why don't you coach? You know, or whatever. One, like you said, I don't have the time to coach right now, and then two, it's just like the kids aren't coachable. And my coach at the D1 school I ended up going to, he used to say all the time, uncoachable athletes turn into unemployable adults. So it's like if you're not coachable right now, when you get that big job and you ain't gonna be able to maintain,
you can't turn it off and on.
Because you're not coachable. You don't have the tangibles to be able to listen, and everybody think they know everything. Like I'm willing to listen to anybody. If somebody got some game that I ain't
sponge, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the best. That's like my best character trait, bro. Is I'm a sponge, bro.
Yeah.
I can pull inspiration from anything.
Sometimes I might not even be in the conversation,
but I can hear
other people.
Exactly, bro. I'm the same way, bro. I'm the same. And you know what else I learned, bro? And me knowing you, because us being as kids, I remember how we were real similar. We're kind of introverted. I might not come say hi to you first unless you say hi to me.
Sure.
But I learned even that I had to get out of my comfort zone. Like now I'll go start that conversation.
Yeah, I was actually very, like, people tell me this all the time. Like, it's so crazy to see you lit
now. Yeah.
Because like Germ at Skyline and at Claremont and at St. Pascal's was like, I was so quiet and humble and like not out there. Like I think really I didn't have like the confidence. I really got confident when I went to Laney. That's where like I got more confidence.
Okay, let me ask you this. Beam was your coach at Laney. So do you think it was having somebody like Beam, who was a familiar figure there, that made you kind of wake up? Or like what was it that made this transfer? Because obviously we're at that point in the story now where like you become who you became. Because I remember hearing the stories like, yeah, that nigga Germ serving, and I'm like, for real?
Yeah, so coming into Laney, it was the same shit again, because Frank had went to Cal, got kicked out of Cal, went to Laney, and then he balled All-American at Laney, and then went on to UNLV. Ended up getting drafted out of UNLV.
I remember that.
Frank was, a lot of people don't know, Frank's running back room at Cal, I think they had 6 running backs. All 6 of them at one point were in the league. They had Marshawn. They had this guy named Justin Forsett.
I remember him.
They had J.J. Arrington.
I don't remember him.
And Frank. 4 guys right there were all
That's
in the league
incredible,
at one point. Frank ended up leaving, got into some trouble at Cal, went to Laney, and was, like I said, All-American. And then again, now right as Frank is leaving, here come my ass again. And again, when I get to Laney, it's the same shit from Skyline. And remember, I said at Skyline, I didn't lift weight. Like, I didn't have to. Nobody required that out of me. Nobody made me. And they shouldn't have had to. It should have been like, you know, I'm going to weights and I'm in there. But even in the weight room, I'm bullshitting. I'm joking. I'm like, oh, bro, you only doing 135? Like, what? I could do that. And then my big ass get under it and probably can't even do it. Right. I'm just like, whatever. I don't need this. Like, I just walk out or something, go do some cash shit. But when I got to Laney, there, it was a real program. Beam's there. They got a strength and conditioning coach. They got like mandatory lifting
trainers.
Like, they got this shit called the can't miss list. Like, if you talk to somebody who was at Laney at that time, they'll tell you the can't miss list is, if you get on the can't miss list and you don't show up to weights or a practice or a fucking film meeting, you're cut. They didn't care if you were going to SC, you're cut. You got to go to wherever, City, San Mateo.
Really?
Like, they was cutting people. And they would do this thing where the first day, they'd ask guys, they'd be like, who here doesn't want to play special teams? And if you raise your hand, they'd be like, get the fuck out of here. Like, we had a dude that we lost to City, big ass 6'4", 6'5" receiver. They asked, like, who doesn't want to play special teams? He raises his hands, and they cut him off the rip. He goes over to City and balls on us.
Wow.
So,
I get it though. I get that making that stance.
They set the tone off the rip. You have to be at weights.
You have to establish that culture, bro.
And they gonna command respect.
Facts.
If you throw a punch, you doing this shit. I think it was called a dirty mile or something, or a dirty 400, where you roll in the field, bear crawling for 400 yards straight. So no fighting in practice, no fighting in the locker room. I mean, obviously some stuff still happens, but people was like, the respect level was just different. That's like dope, at Laney. And I came in, I wasn't strong because I didn't lift in high school.
Right.
But initially, like right off the jump, Beam kind of took me in and was like, all right, I see like where you're lacking at. You don't have strength. Like, you have the body, but you don't have the physicality and the strength behind it. So I think I red-shirted my first year, or gray-shirted at Laney. I didn't even play. I took a whole year. A lot of people don't know this either. I took a whole year at JUCO just to focus on like strength with Beam, like as a one-on-one mentor, coach, personal trainer. Everybody else is getting out of practice, and he's like, all right, practice is over. Y'all can get out of here. He's like, Jeremy, meet me in the weight room. And we spent the whole year working on like flexibility, chest, lower body. So in 1 year, I came to Laney. Crazy story. Our first day, we had a strength test. So lineman, I'm a lineman. You got to do 225 like you would at the combine for max reps. And then receivers, DBs, running backs, they do 185 for max reps.
That's what we did in basketball.
So I get on there and they're like, oh, that's Frank's brother, or, you know, Frank brother about to go, like, he don't need a lift off or whatever. And I remember being in the back, like, I'm like, how the fuck am I about to tell these niggas I can't bench 225? So I go to the strength coach and I'm like, hey, Nelson, let me talk to you real quick in the back. And he's like, what's up? Come back there. I'm like, man, I can't do 225. And I felt like it got so quiet. He was like, you can't what? And then everybody turned around because he's screaming at me. And I was like,
chill, bro.
Like, so he ended up letting me like go do 185. So now I'm the only lineman that's about to test on 185. And I get
how many times you do it?
Bro, once. 185 as a freshman in college now out of JUCO. I did that shit one time. So this gray shirt year, I don't know what happened in a year, but it was like everything just clicked. I went from doing 185 for one. I think by the time I left Laney after my 2 seasons, I was doing 315 for like 8.
What?
Bro, it was the craziest like transformation.
But you know, you said something earlier when it was like, all you got to do is have somebody direct you into that way,
like,
and you gonna get it done.
I didn't have that. When Beam was on my ass, and every all those countless hours, nights, mornings, I was working out twice a day. I would come in the morning to lift at 6 a.m. Then we'd have practice. Then we get out of practice, and everybody else is leaving. And Beam's like, meet me in the weight room, meet me in the fitness center. We about to do another hour, 2 hours of lifting. And I'm lifting like with him, and he was really like just molding me.
Yeah.
And then I had like a dude who was a mentor that was in front of me that ended up going to Sam Houston State, which is like a mid-major D1. He played there, and like I remember his last game, he was like, bro, it's on you now. Like you getting it. I could tell like I'm starting to go up against people. And I'm like doing my thing.
Oh, your own, yeah.
Yeah, like dudes who was going D1, because Laney was really like a Bay Area all-star team.
For
Laney,
sure.
City, CSM, all the dudes who have
CSM is what, Maritime?
No, that's San Mateo. They're a big time JUCO powerhouse for football. I'm not sure about hoop, but football they raw. CSM and City are like the top 2 places to go, and then you got like Butte and all those schools like out the way. But around here. Yeah, so I'm starting to do my thing, and then I get to my freshman season, like my true freshman season at Laney, where I'm about to play, and I went stupid. Like freshman year,
now you roll.
Yeah, I'm doing 315. I got the confidence. I'm coming into spring ball, and I'm not knowing what's gonna happen, but spring ball out the gate, I'm throwing niggas like left and right, pancaking people. I'm now probably like 280, and I'm strong.
So now are you starting to fuck with football now?
Yeah, I'm fucking with it because I'm seeing like
success.
And
too.
then really, what really made me fuck with it even more was, I don't know if you remember when I said Frank was like, "You ain't no football player," and I was like,
"You a lover, not a fighter."
One day, Frank comes to our practice, and because he's getting called by Beam like, "Bro, your little brother is
coming along,
going stupid." So
and he can't believe it.
Yeah, he like, hell no, what? So he comes back to like one of our practices, and he's like, "What the fuck? Like, when the fuck did this nigga turn into this?"
That's
like,
fire.
I'm talking shit. I never would talk shit on the football field.
So you a whole different animal now.
Yeah, like I'm telling niggas what I'm about to do. Like I'm confident. Like
That's
I know
fire.
There's nobody out here who could beat me. And really, like the biggest confident and the biggest like motivation, and when I knew like I finally had it, was there was this guy my freshman year. He went to Skyline with me. He was all like all league, all city. They called it all city back then. And he was maybe like 2 years older than me. And he was a big ass white dude who played D-line at Skyline. He used to destroy me every day in practice. Like we doing one-on-ones, he'd like destroy me, throw me, all type of shit.
Just having
and
fun.
So now JUCO is like very weird. You could have a guy who could take a year off, take 2 years off, go work, and then they like, all right, I want to jump back into football with all these units and your NCAA clock shit.
That shit is still confusing to this day.
He like comes to Laney. And I'm like, man, I remember being like, I'm feeling good. I'm like, damn, if I really got better, I should be able to fuck with him at least. So I remember we doing one-on-ones, and by this point, I'm like one of the leaders. So I'm usually the first person starting the drill. And I remember seeing him like maybe sixth in line. So I literally let like 6 people cut me. I'm like, go ahead, bro, go ahead, bro, go ahead. And they like, what the fuck is you doing? I'm just like, not even saying nothing to nobody.
You got to hit the gym, yo.
In my mind, I'm already
about to
like,
fuck this nigga
I gotta
up.
see, like, you feel me? Let me see if this shit is real. So,
but before you finish, that's fire, because the old you might have would have avoided him.
I would have what?
You would have been like,
I would have ran to the back.
yeah.
Like, oh, I don't want to fuck with
That's
him.
fire though, bro.
And
fire.
again, the O-line coach at Laney at this time was my head coach in high school. So when he sees me doing this, he's like, oh shit. Like,
I wonder how much that played a part in all of these people who knew you when you weren't.
For sure.
So now they watching this full-blown transformation.
Me and my head coach, Coach Kev, would talk about it all the time. Because when I left Skyline, I think he might have did one more year at Skyline. But my true freshman season playing he came over, and some other guys took over Skyline. And he's at Laney with me for both my seasons. So when he's seeing me do this, he's kind of like, he already knows what I'm doing. And he gave me what's called like a first sound, meaning you gonna jump set somebody, you just on their ass as soon as the ball snapped. So as soon as the ball was snapped, I like kind of grabbed this guy, throw him down, and he couldn't believe it because he remembers the Jeremy from Skyline who was passive and wasn't into football, didn't have it yet. And he's like, hell no, let's go again. So we go again. And this time, like, I do the same thing. And now I'm talking shit. I'm like, bro, I'm not Jeremy from Skyline no more. You can't fuck with me.
Wait, so this is the white dude? Okay.
The white dude from Skyline.
Right.
To kill me.
Not your coach.
Not my coach.
Got you. Okay.
I'm talking shit to this white dude who used to blow me off the ball.
Right.
And I'm telling him, I'm like, I remember screaming like, I'm not the Jeremy from Skyline.
Fire. I love hearing that. Because now you really coming into your own. You an animal at this point.
For sure. Yeah.
So how does that season go?
My freshman year at Laney, we did really well. We went 9-3. We made
Who else was name some more people on that Laney team, because I know some people, bro.
We had NFL guys on that team. We had CJ Anderson. I played with CJ both years at Laney. He played for the Broncos, and
I didn't know he went to Laney.
Yeah, CJ went to Laney.
Oh, I didn't
know that. He went to
that.
Bethel, and then he came from Bethel.
He's from Richmond?
Vallejo.
Oh, he's from Vallejo. Okay.
Vallejo.
I don't know why I thought.
Bro, our Laney team was manny. We had CJ, RIP, RBC, Bugsy. He was our backup quarterback.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know he played quarterback.
Yeah, Bugsy was our quarterback. We had Chuck Jacobs, who ended up going to play for the Niners from Richmond, from Kennedy High. We had Kevin Reed, who ended up playing for the Niners from Los Lomas, maybe, or something, linebacker.
So y'all was.
We had Xavier Milton.
I don't know who that is.
X, he got the clothing brand.
Oh, X, yeah, I know X.
My bad.
Yeah, I know X. Yeah.
Xavier Milton.
Yeah, I actually never knew that was his full name.
Yeah.
I knew it was Xavier, but
X, yeah.
And that's another one who, bro, you was a hooper. Like, how the fuck you become a D1 wide receiver?
X was.
I heard he was fire at Laney too, though.
He was going crazy. X, funny story about him. I'm not on the punt return team, so I'm getting ready to go on offense. X catch a punt. He like reverses field and Beam's like, what is this dumb motherfucker doing? Like screaming, and
he take it back.
Housing it.
Wow.
And it went from like no.
Go.
He was like yes. He started doing some shit like. So X was a boy. We had hella people, bro, on that team. We had everybody from Laney, like for the most part, got us.
X was good in hoop too.
Yeah, I remember hooping with him. He was, bro, he's an athlete.
Right.
Bounce, all that. He played at Instant-L. Right?
Yep. What college did he end up going to? Somewhere in Florida?
He went to Florida Tech.
Yep.
And he balled there. I think he was like an All-American.
That's fire,
there.
bro.
So my freshman year at Laney, I came out the gate and I got all first team, all conference.
Damn.
And I think I was maybe like second team, all state my first year. And this is coming from a guy who didn't start his senior year at Skyline.
That's incredible, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Like there were games at Skyline my senior season I didn't start because I was that ass. So going from Skyline into the transition to Laney, I tell people like all the time, like, bro, I didn't start in high school like that. And this is like going on now to like me getting to my D1. I'm telling dude, they like, what? You didn't start at Skyline?
Right.
What the fuck? Like, how the fuck are you here?
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, I went to JUCO and got better. So I tell people all the time, I didn't start playing football until I got to Laney. Like real football, loving the game, pancaking niggas, blowing them off the ball, like really angry and like loving it, like having fun. And I was no longer scared of competition. I think my sophomore year, we had this guy from Mac who transferred in from UNLV. And his name was Antoine Davis.
I don't know. From Mac?
He was from Mac, but he was like another guy, like where he was older.
So he probably took some years off.
He was older than me.
And
he took some years off. Went to UNLV. He like was there with Frank, but now he was back at Laney.
Oh wow!
And they were saying like, oh, Antoine's coming in. I played right and left tackle. They're like, he's gonna take one of the tackle spots. And I remember like when they said that, in my head was like, all right, he might take one of them. But it ain't gonna be mine. I'm looking at the other nigga like, oh, you better get your shit together. They got a nigga coming from UNLV to a JUCO, like he finna go crazy. And that was just my mindset going forward. I'm like, can't nobody fuck with me. Like, that's dope, bro. That's how I felt. That's how I approached every matchup, every situation. Freshman year went crazy. Sophomore year now, I'm like already preseason like favorite to be like the top offensive lineman in the conference. And we in the conference with City, San Mateo, or not the top, but one of the five that get the award. I'm like preseason all conference.
Right.
So our conference was tough too. We had City, San Mateo, I think Butte, which is like, these are all like
prominent programs.
They get out D1 players like fucking water. Like everybody's on D1.
Right.
So I'm getting recruited now. And that took me up another level because I had never got like letters. I was just going to
ask you that.
None of that. I never got a letter in high school. I'm getting handwritten letters from Iowa State.
That's fire.
I'm getting like coaches calling me from all over like, hey, we want to bring you out for a visit. I'm calling Frank like, damn, so-and-so just called me, New Mexico State. They want to bring me out for a visit. What do I tell him? And he's kind of like, now he juiced for me. Yeah. It's like our relationship got better.
When I became
fire, like a better football player, our relationship as brothers, like we had something to, like,
in common.
Yeah.
It's like you had a commonality.
Like before it was like, Germ, I don't know.
Right. I was living two different lives.
Yeah. He was football, and now it's like we both like.
That's fire.
I think by this
How was your mom taking all of this in?
She was always like, damn, like I knew Frank was football. She was like, I just knew you was big and you was gonna do something and do it well, but I never thought it was gonna be football until like you got to Laney and you just turned like, bro, I don't even know how to describe this shit. Like overnight,
that's
like
fire, bro.
I went from just.
But you put the work in though. You put the work in
to Like
nobody gets to see those hours, bro.
For sure.
To them, it's like, man, how the fuck you turn this? But like, you put in the blood, sweat, and tears, and that's how you make. Like you. And I tell these kids that today, right when I'm dealing with them, it's like, bro, you've been doing it your way for this long. It ain't working. Ain't none of y'all getting recruited, right? I signed a national letter of intent I straight out of high school, Division I, right? Only playing 2 years.
Where'd you go, New Mexico?
New Mexico State. Only playing 2.
I had an offer from them.
I know. That's why when you just said that, it kind of lit me up. But I only played varsity 2 years. I tore my ACL early, so I played my junior year at Amador. Then I transferred to MAC. And then going to MAC, I was getting offers just when people saw me because I was a big guard. Yeah. But I tell kids all the time, it's like, man, if you want your situation to change, and this is just in life, you got to create new habits. And that's what you did. You just created new habits. So now instead of maybe catting off, eating hot chips and chasing females or whatever, now you in the weight room putting in the work. And now it's like, shit, it becomes a habit for you. So now if you miss a day in the weight room, it don't feel right. Yeah. Because I remember being a freshman, and not to cut you off, so don't forget where you are in the story. And I wanted to tell you the story earlier. I remember the weight room thing, right? So I remember being a freshman going I didn't lift weights in high school either. I didn't have to. Yeah. So I get to college, it's like, and we had a fucking football strength and conditioning coach. I never understood colleges that have strength and conditioning coaches assigned to certain teams that they never played that sport. It just didn't make sense to me. For sure. So I remember being in the weight room, like the 185 test. It's like, oh yeah, I'm good, bro. I could not get that shit up, bro. I could not get it up, and I wasn't a skinny dude. Like I was skinny, but I wasn't super skinny. I remember we used to have to do step ups onto the bench with like a bar on our shoulder. I forget what it's called, and I almost fell and died in front of everybody, bro. And that's what made me say, you know what? And I had to redshirt my freshman year because of some bullshit with Mac, but I did the same thing, bro. I was lifting twice a day. I was on muscle milk heavy. Bro, I got to college, I was 190. Right, I was 6'2", about 6'2", 190. I got to college, bro. By the time Christmas came, bro, I was home visiting for Christmas. I weighed 210 with 7% body fat, bro. That's crazy. I was looking like I had to stop. I got addicted to lifting weights, bro. Yeah. I loved it, and then I started feeling myself stronger on the court. So now I'm at open gym. They hacking me. I'm taking it, still finishing. I'm like, oh yeah, it's kind of how you feel. So that's why when you saying that, I'm getting juiced because I know that feeling, bro. If anybody know that feeling, I know it. Sure. But yeah, so go back into how
it's crazy. I mean, you just brought up a good point. Like for me, I really like the way I started to look, the results. And you do get confident. You get like, damn, I love lifting weights.
You get a different step for real. It's like you walk different.
I would get out of practice and go like to 2-4 or something, and lift some more because I like.
Bro, I would come home. I would come home to visit, and I would go watch Mac play. And I would be in the weight room lifting weights while they was in the game playing. Swear to God, bro. Yeah. Like, but it's just like it didn't feel right if I didn't lift every day. Yeah, that's crazy. But then I start getting too big. You know what I mean? I'm drinking. And see, we at New Mexico State, we had like you probably did at Duquesne. It's like, you went to Duquesne, right? Yeah. You probably did too. It's like we had unlimited muscle milk. So at any flavors you wanted, I had a refrigerator full of it. But yeah, man, that shit is fire. Just hearing that, because it's bringing back so many memories, bro.
Yeah, so going into my sophomore season at Laney, I was getting letters, getting the notoriety. I had already had a first team all-conference season. So now I'm going into my sophomore year. Everything's like solidified. I know I'm starting unless, I have an injury or something. Yeah. But I know I'm the man. Right. The only thing I'm thinking about is like, where am I going to go?
That's fire.
So our second game, I was the first person from that team to get an offer after only second game. Wow. This school called Stony Brook.
I know Stony Brook.
Division I, another mid-major. They offered me a scholarship after like our second game. They sent out a NLI. I didn't sign it. I told them I kind of verbaled that I would come on a visit after the season because it's kind of hard to get places when we have games every week.
Football, yeah.
They offered me, and I had a hell of a sophomore campaign, like better than my freshman one. I'm dominating. We had a game versus, at the time, I don't know if you've ever heard of Foothill Junior College.
Yep. That's what Keith's coach now.
Okay, they had a real good football program at the time. They had a defensive end who was supposed to be going to Oregon. They had a Polynesian defensive tackle who was supposed to be going to USC. So this was supposed to be like my first real. I had played against guys before. They were 6-0. They were the number 2 team in the state at the time, behind City, who was number 1. We went to Foothill and smacked their ass, and I had a crazy game. And the dude who was going to SC and the dude who was going to Oregon all game. We throwing them. And my confidence was crazy by this point. I remember in warm-ups, we had to like walk around they stretch lines to like kind of get through. And as a coach, looking back on this shit, it was some knucklehead shit. I would hate to coach players
that would do shit like that.
But me and my boy, we get the rest of the team, we kind of turn them around, and we like, fuck it, let's run through they stretch lines. So we start the game off with a 15-yard penalty because we running through stretch lines, and then I'm not seeing this, but people behind me kicking over helmets. Like,
what? So y'all
just
was
turned
violent.
into a damn near a brawl, and we ended up beating the shit out of them. Like
fire.
CJ Anderson, who I said earlier played in the league, he had a crazy game, went for like 250 rushing. Chuck Jacobs went off, who played for the Niners. X went off. Like, we beat him. And that was like the real, like, I'm like, damn, bro, like,
I'm
this
here.
shit really rolling.
That's fire.
And I got way more offers after that. So coming out of Laney, I had a bunch of offers. I had offers from New Mexico State. I had an offer to Memphis. I had offer to Duquesne. And how I kind of landed on Duquesne, because the crazy thing is I was hella cool. I remember the coach's name from New Mexico State who recruited me. His name was Coach White. I'm not sure what his first name was.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
But he was the DB coach at New Mexico State, and he was over the talent like in this area. So they kind of break it up in
regions
areas.
and stuff. Yeah.
He was over this region. So he came, they offered me a scholarly. I'm like, all right, I'm fucking with New Mexico State. Fuck it, I'm gonna go. Was it the Lobos?
No, we're the Aggies.
Okay.
UNM is the Lobos.
My bad. Mine's was UNM. It was the Lobos.
People always get them mixed up.
My bad.
So. No.
It was the Lobos who offered me, not New Mexico State. That's just New Mexico then.
University of New Mexico was the Lobos.
So it was UNM. And I was gonna go, and I was like just about to sign and everything, and then Frank calls me one day. At this point now, Frank is playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Duquesne is in Pittsburgh.
Oh wow!
And
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, it's in downtown Pittsburgh.
Wow.
They have a great relationship with the Steelers. Like, the Steelers pick up a lot of Duquesne players as free agents. So Frank calls me, and he's like, "What's up?" I'm like, "What's good?" He's like, "What are you thinking about, like, schools? Like, where you?" I was like, "I don't know. I think I'm fucking with New Mexico." He was like, "Man, I just got a crazy call." And I was like, "What's up?" He was like, "This coach from Duquesne calls me," and he was like, "This is the first time somebody's called me about football, and it's like not even for me." And I was like, "Duquesne? Like, what the fuck is that?" He's like, "It's a D1 school out here in Pittsburgh." Actually, my bad. Let me backtrack. They didn't even call Frank because they didn't have his number. They have a great relationship with the Steelers. They called the Pittsburgh Steelers coaches and were like, "Hey, does Frank Summers have a little brother in Oakland, California, where he's from, named Jeremy Summers, who plays O-line at Laney?" And then the coaches, they don't know me.
They asking.
They go to Frank in meetings like, "Hey, do you have a little brother who like plays at Laney or something?" And he's like, "Yeah, Jeremy." And he's like, "Yeah, well, Duquesne wants to offer him a scholarship. They can't get in contact with him or his coaches, so they're using us to kind of be a liaison."
Wow.
So it was crazy. So Frank hits me up. Next thing you know, maybe like a week later, I'm on a plane out to Pittsburgh to go on a visit to Duquesne. And again, Frank's playing for the Steelers. So my thinking going out there, I go, and the visit was crazy. Like, they show you. I don't know how many people been on visits.
I know, bro. I know.
They show you so much love. I went on every visit I could take. I went on a visit to Stony Brook.
I wish I would have went on more, but my mind was made up.
I went on a visit to Illinois, like, and I was just like, after I went on my first visit, I was turned out. I'm like,
yeah, I need to. I tell every kid I help with that. It's like, take all your visits,
coached
bro.
me through that. He was like, take every visit, and he told me kind of how to talk, how to word things. At the end of every visit, you have your head coach's one-on-one meeting, and that's where they're like, "All right, what's up? You signing?" Or he was like, "Don't sign shit, just verbal to everybody." So in JUCO, they use this thing called Rivals. It's
I know
like
Rivals.
A little, kind of. They use the same shit in high school. So Rivals had me verbally committed to like 4 different schools because at every visit at that meeting, coming. I'm like, I'm coming. I probably have no intention on going there, but I'm like, he told me to say I'm going to every school. So it's like committed verbally, soft commitment, whatever. But when I got to Duquesne, first of all, I had a great time on the campus. My host showed me hella love. Like, I don't know what they told him. I kind of remember him. I'm in the hotel the first night. He picks me up, And he's like, man, they told me to do whatever I got to do to get you to come here. So he's like, what you want to do? Like, what are you into? You want to go out? You want to just go to dinner? Like, he kind of like let me run the show. And I was like, man, fuck it. Let's go out. I'm not even 21. So I don't think I could get, I was like, damn, I'm not 21. I can't get into no clubs or nothing. He like, man, fuck that. Like, we got you.
I went through that. This is so crazy hearing you tell this story.
He's taking me everywhere. They're not asking me. I remember listening to how I'm just listening, how he's talking to security. He's like, man, this is one of our recruits. Like, we got to get him in. He's like, it's good. Come on. They walk me through the side, whatever. Anything you want, from drinks to girls to, like, they just showing hella love. And then to top it off, after the visit, Frank was playing for the Steelers, and they're playing the Jets in a playoff game at home. So that Sunday, I'm like, man, I'm going to the Steelers game now. And I'm thinking, as I'm at the game, I'm like, bro, I could be out here. Frank's out here. I'm going to be kicking it with the Steelers. I'm going to be doing my thing at Duquesne, and it's just going to all work out. So I'm like, fuck it. I told them this time, I was like, I'm coming, but I signed. Like, I was like on the visit. Beam was like, you signed? I was like, yeah, I signed, coach. Like, I'm coming here. And he was like, all right, well, it's good. Like, he's like, he was just like, man, all right, well, if that's where you really want to be. And like, he was like, just make sure. He did say one thing that I was like, damn. He was like, make sure you're going there because that's where you want to go and you feel like it's a good fit. Not that you're going there because that's where Frank's at and it's comfortable and you getting caught up in this NFL shit. Like, I'm about to be kicking in with the Steelers, because he was like, how it was on that visit, it's not gonna may not be like that every, or not may, it's not gonna be like that every weekend. You know what I'm saying? They showing you crazy love. They
only purpose is to get you to do that, sign that paper.
Yeah, there's a movie called The Program, and it's based off of like a football player, and he's going to, like, I think the name of the school was like Big State or something, and he goes on this crazy visit, and then they get it, like, he doing all type of shit, having threesomes and drinking.
It just sound like he got game.
And then similar. Yeah. So then he signs and he comes for the first day of classes in training camp. Now he get off the bus. He like, coach, where the cheerleaders at? Like, but when they was on that visit, they had him walking through the tunnel with all the girls and shit. And now he there and he's like, damn, where's the razzle dazzle? So it don't always work like that. But in my case, it was crazy because I go on this visit, I sign, and then Frank leaves Pittsburgh and goes to the San Diego Chargers. And I'm like, fuck, now I'm like 2 weeks out away from moving to Pittsburgh, and Frank called me like, man, I'm with the Chargers now. Like, it all just happened hella fast. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, but I say all that to say, bro, Duquesne was one of the funnest, most memorable like experiences of my life. I got lifelong friends. I'm about to go back in a couple of weeks for homecoming.
That's dope, bro.
My coaches are still there.
That's fire.
They send me gear still to this day.
That's dope, bro.
So that was like one of the best decisions I ever made. I don't ever look back like, damn, maybe I should have went to Memphis, or maybe I should have went to New Mexico or Stony Brook or any other schools that offered me. Like, Duquesne was like hella fun, and we were good. Not my freshman, my bad. Now I'm a junior, but I'm coming from a JUCO, so it's my first year there. My junior year, I started at right tackle.
Oh, wow.
We went 9-2, won our conference, and we got big ass rings like that. I still got big bowl rings.
That's fire.
And that was crazy. And we played like good ass competition. And then my junior year, we had like a lot of NFL talent. My senior year, we kind of lost a lot of players, and we still had a successful year, but we weren't as good as like my junior year. Like, my junior year at Duquesne was like our Cinderella season.
That's dope.
Where we won hella games. Junior year, we won a good amount of games, but we didn't go as far and as deep into it as
you did the first year.
And like I said, bro, I don't regret that shit at all. I had hella fun. The parties in Pittsburgh were crazy. That was like, I didn't drink in high school. I didn't drink at Laney. Like, at Laney, I was the guy, like, where I was so focused on making it out and getting out my mom's house. I'm like, man, I can't wait. Not like that.
I know what you mean.
Just like, I can't wait to get the fuck out of Oakland. Like, that's all I wanted to do.
That's why I went away too.
I was like, everybody was like, why don't you go somewhere like San Jose State or close by? I was like,
there wasn't a chance. Like, almost every coach that was, I mean, I wanted to go to St. Mary's initially, but once that didn't happen because of they were signing Dellavedova and all these different people, I was like, all right, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
I didn't even consider, like, when schools like around here would call me, I'd be like, no disrespect, but like
I was on the same hype.
I'm kind of good. Like San Jose State reached out.
Yeah.
I was not with it at all. I was like, I'm out of here. I'm going somewhere hella far where like I could just do my own thing. Like, and I didn't even think I was ever moving back to Oakland. I was, and like, I think you said it earlier, like we was never knuckleheads, but I was always around shit.
Yep.
Like I was always around people who was doing the wrong shit, or people
was so
who was
easy to
going
get
the
caught up,
hall,
man.
people who was, you know, like I'm at Laney, I'm going to side shows. I'm
Right.
shit. And I got in a high speed chase at Laney, got
wow.
arrested, and I was 18. So this is like my sophomore year at Laney. I'm fucking around one night, and I got in a high speed chase, tried to kick one. I had a little BMW at the time that my mom bought me, and I tried to run in Albany coming out the Albany Bowl. End up getting caught. They took my ass to North County. I don't even think that shit open no more. And again, Frank, being who he is, he was playing for the Steelers at the time. I knew three numbers by heart. I knew my mom's, my grandmother's, and Frank's. It's 5 a.m. our time, so it's 8 a.m. in Pittsburgh. I call Frank, and I got to do the inmate, say your last name shit, or say your name, and Frank pick up like, Jeremy, where the fuck is you at? I'm like, man, I did some dumb shit, and I was like, I just need to know if you could send some money to bail me out. And I had like a cash bail. Frank playing for the Steelers was able to bail me out, and Beam was hot.
I bet he was.
All the heart, like he was just everything. Like I think he might have
throw it
slapped
all
me.
away. Yeah.
He like all the hard work, like the shit we did every day after practice. I remember telling the cop, I was like, man, you can't arrest me, because I had just signed to Duquesne. I was like, you can't arrest me? He's like, why not? I was like, I got a scholarship. And he was like, not anymore. And when he said that, bro, like I just started sinking lower and lower in my chair. I'm in the back. I'm like, bro, I really thought it was over in that moment, but it wasn't. I had no priors. I had never been in trouble.
You just being young and dumb.
Some dumb shit. When they finally caught me, because the high speed went for like 30 minutes.
For real?
I'm through Albany to Berkeley Hills, and the only reason they ended up catching me was because they set up like a little perimeter, and I had nowhere else to go. Like I had lost them for a minute and everything, and was trying to figure out how to get in the freeway, but I'm in fucking Albany Hills. I don't know, where to go. So when they finally caught up to me, the cop was like, where's the drugs? I'm like, the drugs? Like, I don't got no drugs. And he's like, why'd you run? And I'm like, because my license is suspended. And they just started laughing, like, you dumbass, like you ran, like we would have wrote you a ticket and sent you on your way. I had gotten cars towed. That was kind of my thinking and running, but it was definitely a dumb mistake. And crazy thing about this story is the cop who actually arrested me, he ended up writing me a letter of recommendation later.
Oh, wow.
Like that same cop.
That's dope, though.
I like had a long ass conversation with him. Like when we got to the Albany police station, he was like, bro, like you big, like you play football or something? And I was like, yeah, I told you I got a scholarship. He was like, where are you going? And I ended up getting like 1 year out of court probation, which means you don't even have a PO. Yeah. They just like are on
making sure you don't get in no other trouble.
If you don't get in any trouble, then this shit'll be like, that shit got expunged and everything. But it's a part of like my story that it actually happened. I ain't never been in no trouble again.
That's dope.
So it was cool. Like I after that, I really was like fortunate that I got to have that experience, and that a lot of people that we grew up with or that are from here, they don't get to have, like, to go out and meet girls from
all
Maryland,
over
DC, Virginia, Texas. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't just this. Like, so many people get caught up in like just this shit right here, and we don't get out and get to go travel the world, and people just think it like living and dying in Oakland is the only way to live. Like, it's so much other shit to get out there and go see. I'm hopping on planes, like where we driving our bus onto the tarmac to go get on a plane to go play wherever in New York, or the East Coast was crazy. Like it was a different experience. And after college, after I graduated, I thought I was gonna live there. So I got a job out there for maybe like 6 months, because I kind of had like a rookie mini camp tryout with the Niners. That didn't end up working out. I did like their little pro day. That didn't really end up working out. I go back to Pittsburgh. My coach is like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, man, I think I want to work with at-risk youth, because that's what my mom did. She's been a nonprofit. So I was like, I kind of want to do something with youth. And he's like, all right, well, I got a job for you. So there was this facility out there called Summit Academy. I get a job there, and I'm doing that for 6 months. and then got a call to come play arena football with the SaberCats, San Jose, on a tryout basis. So I went out there, tried out, and they kind of kept me out there for like the whole season, and I was working out for a minute, and I was doing that for like a year. And once that stopped working, then I kind of jumped into the workforce and started doing stuff with nonprofits, working with youth, and kind of giving back to the community here in Oakland. But I was moved back for football, and then that didn't really work out. Like, I was done playing and everything, and I got a contract to work with this company called, or a nonprofit called CYO, Community and Youth Outreach, and started like just dove into working with youth.
That was dope.
And that's
so I didn't want to ask you this earlier, but at what point did the music come into play?
So, bro, music like has been something that's always been like fun to me, like rapping, like since I was a little kid. Like,
really? So you would do it for fun even back then?
Just like with Marco and Jesse and Barry and all them, like in West Oakland, we was always like freestyling, and then sometimes like going out and drinking or whatever. Like, I don't know, I was a late bloomer into drinking shit. Like, I didn't have my first drink until I got to Duquesne my junior year. That was my first time like probably really tasting alcohol. And once
I became a heavy drinker in college.
Yeah,
I had like and I had tasted liquor in high school,
I tasted it before.
When college, I was
like,
heavy drinker.
And I went to a college where like the only black people were athletes.
Yeah.
So these dudes and women, they could drink.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know St. Patty's was like a big thing until I got to college. Like, they wake up at 5 a.m. just to start drinking.
Wow, that's insane.
So when this started in college too, whenever I would like drink, we had like these little freestyle battles, and niggas would be like, "Jerm, bro, you low-key got bars." So it's funny now because some of my teammates from college, like, bro, we always knew you was gonna end up doing music.
So you waited till after college to start doing it seriously?
Yeah. Like,
so when's your first time recording a song?
Last year.
No fucking way.
Or like a first song ever. I've never like really been in a studio. None of that. Like,
what made you want to try it,
bro? Again, I was doing this shit for fun. Crazy story. I had this little app on my phone. I forget the name of it, but you could make songs on your phone. And I sent this song to my boy, who's actually my roommate, my boy Jay Will. He signed like a signed artist with Empire right now.
Oh, that's dope.
He has a deal with Empire.
Oh, I met him actually.
Yeah,
I met him.
Probably at the crib.
Yeah,
I sent Jay Will a song that I was like fucking around with, and he was like, bro. He called me. He was like, bro, like, this could really be a song. Like, we need to get in the studio and record this. And he was like, certain parts, like, I hear where I could be singing, but like, it's the words that I wrote. He's like, I could sing that. You know what I'm saying? So he brought me in the studio like a year ago. We made a song, and then like ever since then, bro, I just took that shit and ran with it.
That's
like,
fire.
Since that moment, I was like, damn, bro, like, I really like music. And the thing about it for me, like, I feel like a lot of artists, they get caught up in like the pressures of having 1 million streams, 1 million views. Like, everybody wants that. You know, we all want to get 100,000 views on a video or something. But with me, there's really no pressure, because it's just fun to me. Like, I feel like when I'm not having fun with this shit no more, or like whatever, age out, and I'm like, oh, I can't be, then I'm done with it. But right now, like, it's just so much fun. Like, I have songs that might be some of my best songs that I've never released, that just me and my partners listen to.
Yeah, that's
maybe
fire.
Like, bro, put that one on, like when we at the crib or we in the car driving somewhere, and it's like not even out. Like, that's how fun it is to me. But no one may or may not ever hear it. And honestly, bro, the music is really kind of low key starting to take off for me just now. Like, as in like a month ago, like I dropped 2 songs in the last month, I think, and they've been like my most successful songs.
Fire, bro.
Like, one of them has like 25K streams in 11 days. So now I'm like seeing like, damn, people really be listening to this shit.
That's fire,
people
bro.
Calling me.
That's so crazy hearing you, because you was a late bloomer in football. That people,
bro, and then I'm a late bloomer as an artist. Like, I didn't really understand like what it was until I just jumped into it and started doing it. And
so I know your rap name, obviously, but just explain where people can find your music. Some of your name. You can even name the song with 25K if you want.
I'm on all platforms, so Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, everywhere, all that stuff. So I forget the name of Jay-Z's platform.
Tidal.
Tidal. title, and it's The Press God. So ThePressGod, and yeah, I'm everywhere. Definitely, the music is fun for me. I'm having so much fun with it. I love like shooting the videos, and I'm not like the stuff I'm rapping about is like stuff that like I might really be doing.
Right.
I'm rapping about like taking trips with my partners and we on yachts and we in the club, whatever, popping bottles, like
living life.
Yeah, I'm not rapping about robbing no banks and having all these ops and you know what I'm saying. That's not my life. That's not my lane.
That's probably why it's easy for you to do, because you're just being true to yourself at the end.
And it's fun. Like
that's why this is easy for me, because it's just me being me, and it's like it's the same for me. I didn't start making money from this for a long you know what I mean? And it was just invest. Even now, I don't make good. I mean, my YouTube channel is monetized, but it ain't nothing crazy. You know what I mean? But it's like I'm investing. You see this equipment, you know what I mean? So it's like, this is just like, bro, it's therapy. It's like very therapeutic for me.
That's what rapping is.
Yeah, and I love I love hearing these type of conversations, because again, I can pull inspiration from anybody. So even just hearing this is like that's why you keep seeing my face light up, because it's inspiring. You know what I mean?
Sure. And it became real for me, rapping wise, at least, just within like the last month. I got like my first check from DistroKid. Or I didn't even get a check. I had like a dollar amount like sitting in the bank, and I do direct deposit. So it's like waiting for me to cash out. And it wasn't nothing. It wasn't even $100.
I went through the same thing.
It was like, damn. And this isn't even from the song that did 25K streams in the last 11 days. This is from like a album or an EP I dropped a year ago called Press God Winter. And like I just now seen like some revenue from it, and I was like, what? Like it said like new update, like click it. I click it, and it's like you have this amount ready to be cashed out, and I'm like, damn, you really can. And I'm like, if I did this with no promotion, not even being serious
just
about it,
having fun,
like now I really feel like I could take this shit on one. Like I feel like I could take it wherever I want to take it.
Might as well try it, bro.
And, I'm in it all the way. That's like I'm gonna just try it, take it on one until I can't anymore.
Bro. That's fire. Yeah. Well, man, this was dope, bro. This was dope. It's crazy knowing each other for so long, and
definitely. And
now that we older, obviously we talk way more than we did as kids, which is crazy. I always thought you was a year older than me, but it's even worse knowing that we the same age and we didn't talk as much. But because Frankie and my sister Asia was tight, especially young, and I think they might even went to Skyline together. I have
like memories like being around you as a kid.
Same here,
and like playing together a little bit. I remember you had a nickname growing up. Duty.
Yep.
Yeah, I couldn't remember. I remember
some people still call me that. Your mom might call me that.
My mom being like, I think my mom was saying something about you, but she was saying your real name.
Oh, like, you didn't know who it was.
Justin, and I'm like, who the fuck is Justin? And this is like when I'm at Skyline. She's like, yeah, he's playing at Mac. We got to go watch him play. And I'm like, Justin. And then I remember like seeing you on like Facebook, posting you, and you was going, that Mac team. Did you play on the 08 team?
Nah, so only 09. I came the year we lost in state, but we were still the niggas.
Bro, who was it? You, Will,
and me, Will, Dame, Q.
Dame's the one that had the crazy bounce.
Yep. Yeah, that's my god brother.
Yeah,
that's my dog.
Is he still hooping?
Nah, hell no. Okay. He living life. He doing well though. He doing.
I know
amazing.
Will still hoops.
Yep. I got to call Will as soon as we finish. I just talked to Will this morning.
Yeah.
Me and Will are like this, and me and Dame too. Me and Dame are god brothers.
Our team was 08 and 09. Y'all was wrong.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, man. If there's nothing else, man, this was fire, bro. We got to do this again, man. Anytime, bro. I tell everybody this, bro. This isn't my platform. And that's why I told you even when it came to scheduling, it's like, bro, whenever you ready, we gonna get it done. Yeah. And I always look at it like this: the longer I wait, the more shit we got to talk about. Yeah. So I don't be want to rush it. You know what I mean? So it's like even the Hook Mitchell interview, I was dying to get that, bro. Like, and I kept planning it with him. I'm like, he's like, okay, I'll meet you there, and he'd never show up, right? And then I think part of it was he was.
Did you end up getting it?
Yeah, I ended up getting it. But by the time I got it, the death rumor had happened. Like, it was so much more to talk about. They had redid the floor. I did it at Mac, so his name was on the floor. And you know how they put the names on the floor at Mac. Yeah. He didn't even know, bro. He found out coming to do the interview. Wow. And the reason I wanted to do it at Mac was because of that. So, bro, he cried through the interview. It's a fire interview, bro. That interview actually went viral. That's how. Check that. Yeah, no, that one went viral, bro. He opened up completely, bro. I was sitting in there in awe, like, what, bro? And like I said, he cried in that motherfucker, bro. Damn. But yeah, anyway, like I said, man, I appreciate you coming down, bro. You gotta next time do you have a time you put out a project or anything?
I'm working on some stuff right now. I think next time I put out a project, we might have to try to do this again.
That's what I was asking.
And
that's what I was asking.
I'm in because I got a lot of shit in the works right now, and I'm just as an artist. You feel me? Once I think people have known me and my family in general for like sports, and now like it's cool to see. I'm out like 2 weeks ago, and Fab come up to me like he like, bro, how's your music going? And I'm like, I mean, I don't really know. And he's like, I know we don't, you know, I might not say it to you every time I see you, but he like, bro, I be listening and I pay attention. I know who. He like, you ain't Jeremy no more to me. You press God. He's like, I'm not calling you nothing
It's
else,
funny
so.
you say that though, because now me, when I'm at halftime or M2 or all these spots, it's like, it's people that I've been around, and again, I'm not the extrovert, so I'm not gonna say what's up to you. But I get people, I'll be like, "Excuse me," like to get by, and they be like, "Hey, bro, I watch your podcast. I fuck with you know what I mean?"
Yeah, it's cool. And that's motivation,
bro. Because like you said, now people, I was known from being outside a little bit in the basketball world, basketball, and knowing like you know, we know some street cats, and so we was running around side shows, doing all the knucklehead shit. So I know I'm popular anyway, but now it's dope hearing people come up to me and talk about the podcast, you know what I mean? And I got mental health in the podcast. That's like the main thing people hit me about. But yeah, man, whenever you want to promote anything, I don't care if you start a fucking clothing line, whatever, bro. And
I'm definitely gonna have some merch dropping.
That's fire. That's fire.
Press God stuff and this whole program thing I'm taking.
Yeah, you should, bro.
And I got a lot of stuff I'm working on, bro. So I'm interested to see, you know, where everything goes.
I feel like we should try everything, man. I appreciate that, bro.
It's nonprofit.
Man, that's big,
I look
bro.
forward to seeing how that goes. And
you gotta make sure you come to the launch event. Yeah, for sure. I mean, just this relationship, bro. It's gonna be so many things. And then even just hearing you talk about how you work with the youth and how passionate you are, obviously before the cameras came on, and just the coaching aspect and that knowledge that you soaking up. I won't talk too much about it, but that's even gonna be big as far as that new field that you working with. We gonna put some shit together, bro. I'm gonna be like I told you when we exchanged numbers, like nigga, we gotta start fucking with. And we live this close to each other. It's like, bro, we gotta, and I think that'll make our parents happy. You know what I mean? Because our parents fuck with it so tough. You know what I mean? Have always for years. Like I said, we raised this family. You know what I mean? This is a family thing. So I appreciate you, man. Whenever you ready, man, pull up on me.
Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Right on.